Okay, looks like we can start. We're live. And
Okay, yep, you are all set.
thank you, John.
Yep, just holler my name if you need me.
Got it.
Leslie said she's
Perfect.
ready to be let in.
Oh, I guess Leslie is the last one to come in. Okay,
I see her. She's on her way in now.
thank you.
Hi, Leslie, can you unmute so we can hear you?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Perfect. Okay, so here we go. All right, it is Thursday, September 24th, a little after, looks like 7:10 p.m. And I'd like to call the Northborough Cultural Council meeting to order. And I need to first read the information about the remote meetings. So I'll do my best to go as quickly as possible on that. This open meeting of Northborough Cultural Council is being conducted remotely, consistent with the Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth of Mass due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and redirected by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Northborough Cultural Council are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows Northborough Cultural Council to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting, and the public is encouraged to follow along using posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not be featuring public comments. Okay, I think I need to first take attendance. Myself, Bick,
Here.
Heidi, Lori,
Yeah.
Craig,
Here.
Suzanne, Leslie,
Here. I'm here.
and Julianne. Thank you for joining us, Julianne. Julianne is our selectman liaison. Welcome aboard. Okay, so let's get the ball rolling. All right, so the first item is the approval of minutes from 8/18, 2020. And do I have a motion?
I motion.
I'll second the motion.
To
Okay.
approve the minutes.
Craig. Okay.
So Leslie and seconded by Craig. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, and I need to do a roll call vote. Lori?
Yes.
Heidi? Yep, okay, and Bick?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
And Leslie?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So pass. All right. Treasurer's report. New request from Northborough Area Community Course for $150 for reimbursement to pay accompanist and director for spring virtual event. And this was reviewed by subcommittee. Anything else we need to know about that, Craig? Or are we good?
No, that one's in process. Just as a heads up for everybody.
Okay.
Selby was talking with Lisa Hayden. Her project is complete and we expect her paperwork to be coming through for her grant, which is wonderful. Additionally, Ed Harlow should be submitting for the Solar Jazz Fest. That event went virtual this year, and I spoke with him, and he'll be submitting his paperwork too. So I estimate we have maybe 35% of the 2020 grants that have actually submitted.
How much did you just say?
I said 30 to 35% of the artists have submitted. I don't have a dollar sign off the top of my head.
Okay. And I don't think we need to vote on anything there.
No, but just as an update to the rest of the committee, Selby and Terry and I have had a meeting to prepare for the annual review cycle with the town. So coming up later this month or early October, we meet with Jason Little of the town to agree on how much money we have. And then that's a driver which goes into our submission back to MCC that says, here's how much money we have. And that drives what Northborough will receive for the 2021 grant cycle. So just to let everybody else know that all of that is in process.
Beautiful. Okay. And I'm just coming on board with that. And thank you for everyone's help in understanding this. And I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that I get confused with what the grant cycle is and what the fiscal calendar is. So if anybody senses that I'm off base on some of this, please say something. 'Cause I get confused with that. Okay. So next one, the set next committee meeting dates for October 8th and 22nd at 7 p.m. I've submitted those to the town and we have links. Next item number 4, community input survey. And since Selvy's not here, Bick, would you like to just talk about that, please?
Are you reading things out of order? Number
Mm.
4 is a virtual culture fest.
I
Number
printed
6.
something. Maybe I think
Yeah, I moved the input survey down so we could spend more time on the culture fest, and then
got
we
it.
could
Okay.
do the survey.
Okay. So I have an old one. So is Virtual Culture Fest is actually item number 4. Is that right?
Please share screen, make sure you've got the same thing. So the culture fest activities, and then we'll talk about the 2021 and then the survey.
And community input. Okay, got it. 6 input survey. Okay, so maybe somebody else, because I'm not going to be able to. It's okay. You can unshare. Then we can see everybody. All right. So number 4, the Virtual Cultural Fest. So I'm gonna.
So we've had several submissions already, right? And I think Suzanne, you put them into a document. Can you just kind of go over what we have thus far, who submitted, and if we've responded to them, or what we've
So
done?
on the shared drive, there is a pages file which has the information. So just of the ones that I actually have received the paperwork for through the website, we have 4 visual artists. And we have 7 performance artists / musicians. All musicians, no dancers as yet. Those are the ones who have submitted via the website. I know that there are 1 or 2 additional artists that people have conversed with. It's just a matter of whether or not the paperwork's flowed through the system yet. So,
Suzanne, I think we got a new one. Did you see John Fraser?
I just added them about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, you did, because I just saw that. That was new. Okay, thank you.
So there may be 1 or 2, and I encourage everybody to go out there if they are working an individual, as many are, to add them to the list and have them fill the form out on the website.
We responded to them with like, here's the Dropbox.
Who's the question? Who's the they in the sentence?
The submitters, right? Because this is
When
just
they
part 1. They haven't really submitted anything. We're supposed to tell them to send their videos or their documents to the Dropbox. That's
So we can cover. Lori and I are prepared to cover that as well. That whole mechanism's been prepared and tested and is working. We wanted to review it this evening before sending that out to people. but we have an application that Lori has hooked into, and we've tested it for them to upload stuff so that we can put it on the appropriate places to do the streaming on a Northborough cable as well as our own streaming site. So that's all working. We have not sent out emails until we have a more complete list maybe, and then we'll start sending out the emails, and that can happen tomorrow.
Okay.
A lot of people included, I guess, samples, but we
Sample.
want the actual taping sent. I thought that was for the, if we tell them, yes, you're invited, then they drop it in the Dropbox.
So if someone has emailed one of us during conversations, some of the pieces that they plan to present prior to the system going live, we will just move it into the system. Lori and I will just copy it over there manually. The system, some files will be very large if they're video and some may not. So we have a system that will handle extremely large video so that we're not in a position where people can't upload their stuff. So
I thought people just sent little tidbits for us to look at. And then if we invite them, they'll do something. And then,
yes.
okay. I
Well,
got an
okay,
invite
Can
for
I,
the,
can I ask why do we have to invite them? This is a free for all because we're accepting everybody. The invitation, I think, in your mind means which of the collective all are we going to put into the production?
To the smaller 90-minute
Yeah, into the 90-minute
production
video.
versus
But
the longer.
that's why I was wondering when
So,
we
all right.
send them the Dropbox info, they can send it now. We don't have to approve it for them to send it.
I know, but we were asking for requirements for their video. Oh, right. We're asking for I thought some people were just giving a sample. This is what I did, or.
Yeah, that's so we can look at it, but that's just for us in planning the 90-minute portion. We can still say, go ahead and
Load it all up there.
yeah, upload your.
Oh, so whatever they sent, we're using. So the actual thing says, give us something. Okay.
So
I guess
Lori,
We don't need to be.
Lori has created a space for every artist
saw it.
to put their stuff individually.
Yes.
So the wheel will go into every artist. There'll be a folder she's created, the mechanics of it. So all they may load a whole bunch of stuff, and there may be dialogue between us and them as we get to production and things are manipulated as Terry and Dana may need to. Discussions may go on with one or two artists individually. That's all possible, but we'll have all the content they want to share with us so that we'll know what issues exist, if there are, what our options are.
But are we going to help approve which music to use for our thing, or is
Of
this?
course,
Okay.
that would definitely be. We're
Okay.
just trying to get all the music available in a way that is user friendly for them to upload everything from a 10 meg still life all the way up to a 50 gig video. We have the ability to handle all that, so that's what
Okay.
Lori has been making sure happens, as well as an interface for them to use.
Okay.
That's impressive. Thank you.
Terry,
Yes.
so have we decided on a limit though, or like a quantity, how many minutes for videos and how many pieces of art for visual artists?
I don't think we've actually discussed limits in that respect, but I think we were talking about for time limit 2 minutes, 10 minutes, but then the difficulty that we ran into is that if somebody is doing a performance and say it's a longer piece of music, that could be an issue. So maybe I think at least what the takeaway that I took from this is that we see what comes in and see what's appropriate to put into the 90-minute piece based on what can be trimmed or fading in and fading out into something. So in other words, somebody may submit 10 minutes, but maybe there's 3 songs in that, as opposed to somebody doing one really long piece. Then the longer pieces, I think that's what's going to have to end up on our Facebook. And how I would like to look at this and is that people who submit, maybe it's school age middle schooler who has a dance performance or poetry or something. So on Facebook, the links can become like a library so that people can see that we're alive and well, and that my hope is that, and that's how I've been presenting it when asked, that this is a way to knit the community together in some very fractured times. And no, we can't meet personally, and you can't be there, but this is a way that you can go back and look at your neighbor, look at catch up with people and things that are going on and happening. And so they will be there, but when it comes to the 90-minute production, we will have use our best judgment to figure out what works and cut and paste.
However, I don't think we want to go through hours and hours of video to make these decisions of what to keep and what to. So I think we should have, like, let's assume they recorded a performance, a 2-hour performance they did somewhere, and they want to submit that. There is too much video to look through to decide to cut to it. So
and we wouldn't.
So I think we should decide on a.
So I think if somebody submits 2 hours of video, that's overwhelming.
Right. We'll have to
that we would just, we're volunteers. We're all just going to do our best. And yes, Suzanne.
So we originally said we were going to wait and see what we got. So far, all the submissions, the most anybody has said is I have 3 songs.
Okay.
So whether or not they're all being used or not. So I think the instructions were pretty clear that we're not looking for 2 hours. It was a very narrow call. So I don't think we're going to encounter any sort of way out of bound entry. But if we do get someone who does that, I think that's where we have a one-on-one conversation with that artist and say what we were looking for was 1 to 2 songs, as we said in our call. So would you please take the time to send us what you think is the best, 10 minutes, knowing that we're going to probably bring it down for the telecast and show the whole thing probably on our own channel. So I think we would take it a case-by-case scenario, but so far the comments have all been very within the bounds, and we'll just go back one by one. So I don't know if we have to have a plan for every contingency until the contingency actually shows itself, and so far it hasn't.
And then I think if we have a lot of submissions, and this was what I was thinking anyway, is that we divvy up some and look through, make notes, record those notes, and then I can have some good conversations when it comes time to edit with NCAT. So it will be fine, and I'm not worried about this yet. Yes, Lori.
How about the visual art? I have a friend who asked how many pieces she can submit.
It's we really don't have a limit on that. Okay. And this might be more of working group discussion. But
if we are planning to send emails back to tell people to upload stuff, then we have to.
I thought we were waiting to see what we got and then decide, like even for the music, see how many people signed up, right? Wasn't that what we were going to do?
That's the confusion I'm getting. I'm not understanding that at all. I don't know what that.
So can I say with visual art, I think we had discussed this in our working session that it's a totally different time frame, and how we use the visual art is can be a 2-second per piece, or it can be out to 5 seconds per piece, but it's a very short duration usually on visual art. So I would encourage everybody to within reason submit what they think is their best work, knowing that we are going to choose from all the submitted work and represent everybody as best as possible, and leave that caveat and have them submit. Now, if they're going to submit 127 photographs, well, then we're going to have, that's someone we'd call back individually and say, okay, we're not meeting, our minds, we miscommunicated. Or we're saying, send us 20 or send us 10 pieces of work, and we'll try to go through those. So I think that would be But most
kind of
people
say that from the start. I think it would be to have clear communication. Why go back on it? And you think that will discourage people if we put a limit to their?
I don't know if we have to at least for the pictures. I don't think we or visual art. I don't think we have to limit that yet, because it's the way I envision editing this. So if somebody has a piece of music, just as an example, and it's very static, so it's not, there's no movement, we can layer in and put up a slide that says music performance by, and then art by, and then we can make this flow really nicely. So I want to be careful about limiting what we say until that presents itself. And that way it gives us enough to work with. I guess my fear is not having enough submitted to look at.
And then
Craig?
in the past, no one has over submitted in visual art.
Yeah, then let's.
So in visual art, no one has over submitted. There was one person the very first year, and even I thought, ooh, if we don't have space, your number 11 is going to be one to go. But we ended up using it. So, I mean, I had, the people who submitted more were the people who were the first to go should we had a wall constraint, but it never turned out that way. So, I think we're solving a problem maybe that hasn't really.
Okay, yeah, so let's yeah, let's hope we get more than what we need, and mix in some of the as we talked about, mix in some of the professional and some of the non-professional, and I think we're going to have something beautiful to look at. Craig?
Yeah, Lori, so did you get information you're comfortable sending back out? I think the message is we would love to see the beautiful things everybody wants to share. And visual art, just like music, if we need to edit and work with it, we would contact the person on how we're going to shape it for the 90-minute thing. But we would still love to share all of their work afterwards, just like all the music.
Right.
That'd be wonderful.
On the channel, yeah, our own channel, definitely.
Yep, I want to find a way to get this out there. For me, and I'll say this again, I was recruited at a cultural festival while working for NCAT by Selvi, and I wasn't familiar with the artists, the dancers, and all of that. So this is what we're doing in lieu of the in-person, and doing it this way. I think we have a really good shot at making this more available to people for when we have the premiere and beyond. Vic.
So is it correct to assume that there's two processes that are running in parallel? One is to collect all the information, the video is the JPEGs or whatever from the submitters. And then as they're doing that, we should break out into teams, maybe a team looking at artwork and a team listening to music or dancing, and narrow down the minutes and hours that are given to us and say, I don't know about anybody else, but this song sounds really good. So they gave me 5 songs and I'm picking out the one, and I'm going to write down a little note and collectively say, listen,
the time from
really good. To suggest it to you, Terry, and your NCAT team, to be in the production. Right?
Yeah, it's very easy to share a screen, pull up the someone, whoever's running the meeting or co-hosting, and pull up. I've been doing a lot of that at school, so and it's easy for all of us to sit there, listen, and go yay, nay, whatever. Like, I think that's a good idea, Beck, split into groups, and maybe even do even smaller groups within the music if we get a lot of music.
And we'll see how that goes.
For that? So maybe I need to make a motion to say, I suggest once submissions are complete, that we form smaller groups to review both the musicians, the dancers, and the visual artists to go through and make a qualifying list of ones that should move forward to the NCAT, and of course all of them would be available for the YouTube channel.
Can I adjust that a little bit? You said once submissions are complete.
once.
Are we
once.
waiting?
There's a deadline, isn't there?
Yeah, it's
No,
October
that's
15th,
too
but I
late.
would think
That's
we
way
would
too
want to
late.
just, if we can,
Sure. Then we can amend it to
review.
have the committees formed
Can we do as
whenever there's enough material to move forward.
yeah,
with.
like on a rolling basis? Like if you said that we already have 7 musical artists, that's enough to get going right there.
Okay, I amended it. Any seconds?
So let me see.
I
So
second.
As submissions, as sufficient. Submissions are
Received.
or received. Form small groups to review and select qualifying performances for the 90-minute program.
Yep, and our fallback position is we can always add more, but to pick out the good ones right away, I'd like to be able to identify them and make sure that it gets addressed. So yes, so Suzanne first, Leslie second,
Leslie?
and okay, I'm going to go across the board. Bick,
I approve, yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Heidi. Yep. Okay, Lori.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Heidi, we need a verbal. A visual doesn't count.
Sorry, yes.
Okay, Heidi's yes. Suzanne?
Yes.
You and Leslie?
Yes.
Okay, and yes. So I think that's fantastic. Okay, so I am working with an older agenda version, and now I've put notes all over this. So
Sure.
is the next one the Lori Diamond item?
Wow. Okay, you're like on a you're on your own
I'm off
agenda.
in space.
No, I think that was your agenda, not the final agenda. So the next item under Culture Fest was just a readout from Leslie and Craig on the direct contacts of musical performers.
Okay. Take it away.
Did you guys call or contact
Yes.
anybody?
We've contacted musical performers. There's a lot of excitement out there. It's building, it's palpable.
I sent letters to 2 people. If you're interested, here's I gave them the attachment. I sent it to Stephalia Stone
Okay.
and to Mr. Dackwell saying whether it's a school band or his personal band. Here is, see the attached form to fill out. And I think I've misunderstood. I thought we could only have, and I guess it's just for the video, so many musicians playing. So I didn't want to invite all these people. Those are the 2 that stuck out that I invited.
Yeah, you're right. We don't want,
because Lori Diamond,
we don't want to personally invite a ton of people. So you're correct about that.
and I didn't invite them. I said, if you're interested,
yes,
here's the form. And Lori Diamond would have been someone I called, but she already filled out the form, and her daughter filled out the form.
Okay.
And then Craig, who did you reach
Oh
out
yeah,
to?
we've been speaking with other artists and playing it up, and there's a lot of interest in the town about participating in this cultural thing. So it should be good. I'd like to make sure at some point, maybe it's an action for the next working session, which will hopefully be soon, where we again review all the channels that we're hitting for dance, for visual, and for music, to make sure collectively we feel like we've gotten our message out broad enough, quickly enough. So maybe that, we can cover that off in a working session. But for music, I think we're on a very good trend that has some really nice music.
I mentioned to, because I was covering a school committee meeting last night and saw Kathy Daglish, the executive director, and I let her know that we've had, a really good response rate so far, and she's excited. They're ready to jump in and help, and because they had tried earlier this year when COVID really just started, when it shut everything down, and they got 2 submissions for a virtual festival, film fest. So we are doing very well, And I'm going to guess and say that all of this is a buildup from all of the work that you guys have been doing from previous years, because there was somebody that had called me to ask questions about this virtual cultural festival. And he actually went back to a video from last year. So I think all this work that you guys have been doing, it's the fruits of your labors are coming through, and this may be something that people really look forward to. So it's worth it. So thank you for all of your past work. It's presenting. So this is fantastic. Is there anything more that because I'm not working with a good set of
quickly,
it?
Terry?
Yes.
I sent out an email about I had the action item to reach out to additional surrounding towns, artists and musicians, art groups, and requesting that they reach out to their individual artist musicians. So I have completed that, so that can be added into the minutes for the surrounding towns. And hopefully we will hear back if they choose to send it on to their own artists. I talked to Westboro in person, and they were not able to hold their normal event, and they hadn't had a virtual one in its place. So they have a lot of people participate there. So we may be able to help them share their talents this year, where maybe they hadn't already.
Yep, this is great. This is when we help each other. And I think, once all of this COVID, once all of this goes away, and it will, just not yet, maybe there'll be some previously undiscovered talent, relationships that we form with other cultural councils, and maybe we can help each other in the future some way with funding or grants or connections. So I think there can be the possibility for a lot of positives to come out of this that we just don't realize yet, but will at some point. So hooray, thank you for that. I'm excited to see what else happens. Lori.
I just came up with I was just thinking if we should do one of those connecting threads that they have in many of this COVID music videos. Like they throw the shoe to one another, the microphone, one of those things that would look very nice in editing. Yeah, we can ask the performers, or to just record a 30-second I Love Northborough or something, just to add to our
to pass a mic or something.
Northborough, yeah.
Interesting. I really like that.
Yeah.
Can't hear you, Leslie. You're on mute.
You could have it looks like an arm reaching in to the next, well, I'm thinking this, with the microphone, like
like passing the pen.
My arm would go in with the,
if you cut out a red heart and you're like passing it on to the next person, or a red apple.
Interesting.
Yes.
The apple.
Music.
Yeah, I like
they send it this way, and somebody picks it from the bottom.
I like this. Kind of like
music note in it.
Yeah, kind of like a Zoom session with the Brady Bunch boxes, and they're looking at each other.
You don't know which box you're going to see. You're passing it correctly.
We have our Apple logo we could do. No.
Whoever has the craft box from the first year, there's a bunch of green apple cutouts, if they're still there.
There's
like 30.
I think I do down there.
So, and just as an added idea, if we really, depends on how much time we have, I don't know. Yeah. But I wonder if, as a way of introducing the Cultural Council, that, hey, we're part of your community, if we did something like that, we pop in, and now the next act, and then, pass it over to Bic or something, and this could be really fun. Hey, I'm so-and-so. So I love that idea. That's super fun. I think we gotta have fun with this too.
Yes.
Julianne is smiling, so I think we might have some select persons involved in this.
I miss you, Julianne. We haven't seen you in so long.
Well, since February, right? Since our library event.
I'm back.
See, we're being recorded, so we can't really get too silly.
Oh, yeah, but the thought is there.
Yeah, believe me, it's in my thought bubble.
Okay.
We use that at school. Keep it in your thought bubble.
Oh,
Right, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. All right. So anything else on that? Or Vic, can you tell me what the next agenda
and then
is?
so the other thing is if anybody else had any updates or just other team member updates, anything you want to mention, or just reviewing the dates. You wanted to review the air dates of 6, 7, 8, November 6, 7, 8.
Yes.
Is
So
that good? Is that solid? Or
yes, that is, I spoke again with Kathy Daglish from NCAT, and so they are fine with November 6th. It's a Friday night for the premiere. And so that'll be like the big reveal, but that's when it will play on NCAT, and we can make it available, the links. And what they'll do is they would put it as unlisted or private, and then make it available at that time. And then the following 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, then it just plays over and over again on NCAT. But, grab the link from NCAT, share it, put it on our Facebook group, share it, with whomever. And
I'm thinking this one needs like a good one pager that goes into like community advocate and all those, to say, coming next week, on Saturday, there's this show.
That's a really good idea. So Liz Nolan is my community advocate contact. I'm happy to talk to her about it and at least put that thought in her mind. So it, as it gets closer, because I don't know where deadlines are.
It should probably go into a couple
yes,
news outlets. So all the standard ones that I
what else?
Patch.
We have a list. We have a list of those outlets.
We have a list. It's the same list that I sent out already. So that's
okay.
So
and we Sylvie and I brainstormed a list a couple months back, so we can compare the two lists and combine them, and then figure out how to action.
I can tell you right now what's on my list. But I can put that together unless you ladies want to be more creative. I'm just going to use the same background. But
yeah, just something. So if they can't use our format, then they can at least take the information and insert it to whatever works. But yes, very important.
The publicity list, as I sent to Action Unlimited, Community Advocate, the Telegram. It's just called Telegram. Wicked Local, the Villager, and the Rec Department, and the Northborough Guide, the Lion Sign, Northborough Patch, and then Community Access Channel.
So I wonder if Metro West Daily News, is that?
Okay, I don't have that one, Metro West Daily News.
Also, I don't have my list in front of me, but the senior center was on our list. They have a magazine they put out, a little monthly brochure. That's an important one too. Add that to that list.
Yes.
And I'll review my list or the Sylvie and I list and get it to you, Vic. So if anything's missing, but the senior center comes to the top of my head.
That is a really good one. If they have something that's where we can send them a link or information.
They have a monthly magazine that they can actually put a small little article in. And then they also have a bulletin board and an email. So there's a couple of avenues they have.
Is that like a physical print or is it digital?
They have a physical print.
Comes in the mail. It's a great information source.
I did not know that.
So,
okay,
but we have to hurry.
Great.
They print way ahead of time. So that would be sooner than later.
Okay.
And we said at 7 p.m., right? That was the
yes. Yep. And we get the thumbs up for that as well.
So we're locked in for that.
And does anybody know, is Wicked Local the same thing as Metro West? Or are those two separate?
I
don't know.
I think it's separate.
Separate? Okay. And I did not know that the advocate was still, I don't know. I think I've been shut in too long.
If anyone actually does anything with the, my stuff, so.
I don't know, or maybe I'm just in the wrong region or something. Okay, so I don't want to, I appreciate all of your time, so I'm not going to keep this going too long because everybody's been working so hard in the breakouts. What is the next?
Yep, the 2021 grant application process. We want to talk about the priorities that were updated, and then discuss the timeline and application process for the grantees and publicity that's required for the grant cycle.
Okay. Does anybody have access to the priorities, or do we actually, Craig, do we need to go over that?
If I'm able to share,
yes,
and I think I am, I'm trying to put it up right now.
Okay.
Please tell me if you can see it.
It'll be sent to me as well if needed.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Pretty quickly. So without going into the survey, that might be another agenda item. Absolutely fabulous. 191 responses, I believe we got to that survey.
197.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous. Some really, really good feedback that we got from the town. And so our subcommittee went through all of that survey information, and there was some additional verbatim comments that were included. And we tried to assess that as the pulse of what the town was really interested culturally, and turn that back around into what we could provide grants to or otherwise stimulate. And we felt very happy that our priorities document that we've been using for a couple of years now, and that we came into it with was pretty robust. What we did choose to do, and I'll show the committee, in item 4, the third bullet, we did a little wordsmithing there that said events and professional development programs enhancing art education at schools. That came out of the survey. And then the further on down, culturally diverse events, and also events for individuals with disabilities. The last bullet, again, new ideas, artistic variety, and diversity. We tried to encapsulate a lot of the feedback we got in the survey by editing those bullets. This document then, I think, would be for the board, our board, to agree upon, and this is what we would go forward with. But we tried to squeeze a lot into those bullets.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question on that very 4th bullet, 3rd sub-bullet. Events and professional, I'm sorry, which one? Yeah, the one that's art education at schools. So developing, enhancing that. What about music education at schools? So like why just art education at schools?
Well, very good, Vic, as always. I think that's fair. We could put, I think it was meant to be art as the greater.
Oh, like the general art?
The art, but I think that's a good point. And
that's how I took it, but I wasn't thinking of it. Interesting.
You know, a little more clarity never hurts. So I think we could elaborate there, art and music, the arts and music.
Very good, Vic.
With the nest on it, it takes care of both fields.
Yeah, except that most people don't read it that way, unless you're saying the arts with the nest or something.
Okay.
Art and music education. Okay, I updated it. Send back to Selby.
All right, so we'll give feedback to Selby. I know she'll probably be joining us in a little bit, but we'll make that one last change, and then we could share this around again tomorrow perhaps, and get it approved and get it out there to drive the grant cycle. Yep. So I'm going to stop sharing, Terry, and come back to the agenda.
Very good. Okay. Next item, Vic.
Yeah, Well, actually, let's talk about the timeline of the grant application process. So it's supposed to be starting October 1st. Like I don't have that from to time.
I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that might be one of the items that moved out.
Did move up from September, but I don't have the interval as to when it begins and when it ends.
Okay. See if I can come up with that.
And then, okay, so we need clarification. So that. Okay. So we need that because then up next is the publicity for the grant cycle. If it's truly October 1st, that's next week. So I wish I'd known. I would have just emailed the same people 2 sets of documents instead of 1. So now the grant cycles, I would have to send something out on the fact that the grant cycle is occurring,
Okay, so I just looked up an email from MCC. And so 10-1 is when the council priorities must be completed. 10-1, grant cycle begins. 10-31, sections 1 and 2 to be completed, grant cycle closes. Let's see. Closes on 11/16, pardon me.
What closes on 11/16?
Grant cycle closes.
That's the date at which we say, submissions are due to us so that we can be reviewing and finding out if there's any exceptions. Terry, good news. I believe Selby is 5 to 10 minutes away.
Oh, wonderful.
I don't know if you want to manage the agenda at all, because she is certainly the resident expert on this, the detail of the grant cycle. I don't know exactly how much detail you want to go into.
Let's see, in terms of detail, so like everything else this year, it's 2020, so everything was pushed out. So normally my understanding is that things would have started, like cycles and things would have started in September, but bumped out by a month. So that's the 10-1 through 11/16.
So I have the press release from last year. It was just 2 small paragraphs, which read, Northborough Cultural Council is accepting applications for grants to fund programs and events that showcase art, humanity, blah, blah, blah. If you have a program you believe would be eligible for consideration for funding, we invite you to apply between September, October, November. Guidelines for eligibility on online applications can be found at the Massachusetts Cultural Council website at mass-culture.org. And then we had a, what do you call the squares?
Square?
Is it called square? you know how you put your phone over the square, the black and white?
Oh, QR codes, is that
what
that
QR
is?
code, yes. We had a QR code that led them to that. So if that QR code it still works, we need to update it.
That's cool.
I don't know where it goes, but because it says for more information, visit our website, Facebook page, or email us. And then we had a little logo thing that says coming September 1st, apply now. So we'll just have to change it.
I didn't know about that, but I really like that idea.
Josh Gordon created it.
That's right here. Who created it, Leslie?
My friend Laura Gordon's son, Josh.
Oh, that's right. I remember. Yeah, he created that. So we got to figure out what website it goes to. And then this, I don't know who created this, but this needs to be updated.
You should know, Selby.
Okay, so I love that idea. I think that helps with our branding of Northborough Cultural Council. And I think that makes us, right up there, current and
It says open mass-culture.org.
Open.
I just put my phone over it. Let me see what that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Would it go to oh, I don't know how I would show the would it
Tell us what it goes to.
can you see? It says Mass Cultural Council online toolkit for local applicants. Was that where they were?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And that's good.
So if you
it goes to massculture.org.
Yeah. So if you fix whatever's on there when people open it, that's what they'll come to.
It's already correct.
Yeah, it's nothing to fix. It's the current. It's basically this website.
Yeah, open it.
Yep, it goes right here to this website. So all we have to do is fix this little logo blurby thing here, and then the dates, October to November.
I still like that. It's very nice.
Why don't you let Lori and I take a look at it, and we can give it to you guys.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So I'll send this document to you. Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne.
I love the idea where that reminded me of something, I don't know, from the 60s or Dick Tracy, or I'm dating myself, but just it's
cartoons.
Yeah, it's
Bam, right?
Yeah, Batman.
Punch,
Batman.
Yeah.
How?
I mean, if you want to change it to the new colors of this year's theme, the orange, green, purple, that's nice too.
Can do that too.
That we just have, we stay with one branding for at least the same year. So, but we can definitely do the QRC code.
Yep, I think this is good. I love how it looks modern and it's current, and we're easy to find. That's got to be part of the branding. Okay, what is the next agenda item? Every time I go off on my screen here,
It'll be the input survey. And I'm just going to say there is not much change in direction from what I last reviewed 2 meetings ago. There was 2 questions, number 1 and 7, where the order of priority changed a tad bit. One used to be 3 and 4, now it's 4 and 3, just because of the tallies. But it's very, very minor. It's still the top 3 or the top 4 items. I didn't get a chance to put the graphs together because the graphs look very strange. I don't know if it's a Google thing, because when you have so many questions and the questions run kind of long, it wraps the question or it disappears. So it's like blank altogether. The values are there and the bar chart is there, but you can't really tell what question goes with the bar chart unless you go back to the original form and understand what number that is. So it wasn't good to paste in, but I think it just was just more of, it kind of more of the same. The one question where we said, are you aware that you can apply for a grant? It was more of like a 45-55 before, and it's more dramatic now. It's like 58.6, like almost 59% do not know, and 41% do know about it. So that I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong numbers. It was 60% don't know and 40% do know about it. So it used to be 58-41, now it's 60-40. So the more people answer, the more they don't know about us, about the grant process.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But okay. And so I think that's the beauty of there being so many of us finding this out and being able to share the information and reaching out where we see where this is manageable. We just want to keep it manageable. Okay.
Terry, can I offer for the rest of the committee though? When we reviewed the survey information so that we could update the grant priorities, as I mentioned earlier, we did look at the 35 or so verbatim comments that came in. There were some really good questions in there. And as I said, some great input from the community. I think it's important that we absolutely answer some of those questions and reach out. And so I volunteered to Terry to do that, to try and craft some answers. And if I think anything is in a gray area, not perfectly clear, I'll solicit the input of the rest of the committee. But otherwise, I'm going to try and take that on and open those communication channels. If anybody else on our committee wants to carve out a few or divide and conquer, just let me know.
John Sabatini, can you allow Selvi in? She's trying to join. She's on her way. There she is. Welcome, Selvi. You're on mute.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, welcome. Glad you could come.
Thank you. Me too.
So,
Okay.
so the reason, back when we were talking about the list of outlets that we advertised with, or whom we send information to, we forgot about our own website with the town. Right now that that's new, we should put out our November 6, 7, 8 date on that one, and we should do the publicity for the grant cycle press release should go there too. So that's great. For the grant cycle, right? Once Suzanne corrects that and does a new little logo thing, that should be uploaded obviously to Facebook, our own website, and then I can send it out to the same news outlets. And then when we do, and then we should do another one pager on the air dates, and that can go up now. We don't have to wait until it gets closer.
Oh.
Right.
Coming soon.
Yes. Who wants to do that? Do you want to leave that to me, or you want to put some creativity to that, Lori and Suzanne? The NCAT show announcement.
Let us try to at least brand it so it looks like everything else, so we can keep our look and feel this year. Okay.
How about I help with the text and you guys help with the graphics?
So you just send on the PowerPoint of the text, and then we'll dress it up.
Perfect.
That's what Selva usually does. Whatever meaningful needs to be said, put it in a sentence, and we'll hack it up and put it on something.
Put a bow on it.
Yeah.
I'm so
Pull
sorry
it in
we
it.
have talked about this already, but this year our grant cycle begins on October 1st and ends on November 15th. Even so, there is no money that has been allocated from state as of now. I don't believe we received any money yet. So we will be taking in grants, but money is to be determined. So this is the first time we're in this situation, just like anybody else, many first times.
Selvi, if I can ask you, because this is a first time, does this mean that we need to put some sort of, I don't know how to say this, like a disclaimer in case something happens with the state and we just don't receive money, or because the action of submitting a grant request, and so we consider them and say, yes, this, is there an obligation that's tied to that, I guess, is my question. I don't know if you would have the answer on this.
I mean, my instinct would be yes, we should, but I really think we should double check with MCC to see if they have a standardized publicity for this year, because normally we do receive direct publicity materials from them in August, which we haven't received yet either. So those are two pending items from MCC. Our program manager, as he emailed us, is not available this week, but I'll take the responsibility to reaching out to our previous program manager to see if she can guide us.
Good.
Okay.
Terry, excuse me while there's a pause. I've got another commitment, so I'm going to be dropping off now. I think we're mostly through the agenda.
Yes, thank you so much, Craig. Thank you for your time. Good night. All right, so Selvi, I just I had printed the wrong agenda, so I have been relying on Vic to tell me which one's next. I was so on the ball. So what is our next one? Because I think we're
It's
buzzing.
just other business as it comes in front of the board, if we have any, and then future agenda.
Okay. Is there anything else that we need to be discussing or talking about here? I feel really, my first impressions, I feel really good about what we have done so far. I feel that we, for not having done a virtual cultural festival, I think things are coming together. You guys are all really talented, have done this before, know what to expect. And I think we have great resources. So I don't sense any big holes in this yet. Leslie.
Did you guys know, did someone already know that it was in the community advocate? Oh, you did? Okay.
No,
I didn't know.
I haven't looked yet.
I didn't see it.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
But someone had sent something.
I wonder if there.
I sent it in. That's what was my job. So
maybe it's not in the paper yet. It might just be on.
Oh, it would be in the electronic
might
version.
Be online versus
okay. Oh, great, wonderful,
fantastic.
And it has, you know, to apply the information, everything. That's nice. That's great. Beautiful.
It is not other business, but only because I joined late, and I apologize. And you may have already covered this, I believe, and if you did, that's totally fine. Our subcommittee to evaluate and vote upon grant modifications has had 2 requests for grant modification. I'm not sure, did you guys already talk about this? Okay.
Nope.
So one was from Jameson. It was a library event, and it got rescheduled for June 18, 2021. And it meets all our guidelines for grant modifications and extensions, so we approved it. The other one was Ed the Wizard, the Dragon Balloon Twisting Program. His event also got moved to, it's at the library, and it got moved to summer of 2021. A more precise date is to be determined, and we also approved it because it met all the criteria.
So Jameson, which event is that one exactly?
I didn't take what exactly event it was, but I updated our spreadsheet.
Okay.
It
and you
should
said
be right there. I can look it up if you guys.
Okay, that's all right. And you're saying that the event is moved to June 18th, 2021.
Yes,
okay.
Scott Jameson's event got moved to summer, June 18, 2021. Okay. And Ed the Wizard, the Dragon Balloon got moved to summer of 2021. And I can look up quickly what those events were.
Selvi, while you're looking those up, I have a question on how to look at this. I was explaining to the team earlier that still in a learning curve here. So the grant cycles and the calendars. So when they have requested to be moved to June of next year, does that make that part of the 21 grant cycle or the 20?
No, we're just forwarding the I'm not muted. Okay, we're just forwarding the exact same grant amount from the 20 fiscal year to the 2021 fiscal year. So normally we do balancing of the budget, and any grants that were not encumbered would have been re-granted in the next cycle. But in this case, because we have all these extensions, we're holding them. And if next year, if the events happen, we're going to be granting them the amount that was approved in 2020. Now, if the event gets canceled or does not take place any longer, then whatever monies we have left will be moved to 2022 cycle. I know it's a little convoluted.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I'm just going to have to work at getting that straight because
so just to get myself straight as well. So as an example, let's say Ed the Wizard balloon guy, let's say we gave him $100 for a 2020 event, and now it's 2021, and once the MCC plans come in, they say, oh, you have $5,000 to grant next year. It's actually 5,000 plus the 100. That basically, no. Oh, see, I'm misunderstanding.
Oh, you're on mute.
No, it doesn't work like that. If we get $5,000, let's say, from the state this year, that is a money that needs to be granted for the 2021 cycles. The $100 that was already granted comes out of the 2020 budget, and it keeps on getting subtracted as it gets reimbursed.
Okay, that's what I meant. I didn't say correctly, but right. Yeah. But in terms of money, the $100 for Ed the Wizard does not come out of 5,000.
That's right.
The same year. That's what I want to say. 1,000 plus the 100 from a different account, from the 2020 account.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So normally we would have reconciled all this by now, or actually by December of this year. But because of the extensions, we will be reconciling 2 funding cycles at the end of December 2021.
Okay. That sounds riveting.
This is when you're glad you're not Craig.
Yes. Yes, he's not allowed to win a lottery and leave the country. At least
is there anything else to discuss?
Yeah, I have 2 questions still. So back when Suzanne made a motion, so we just let you know, as part of the festival, made a motion as sufficient amount of submissions are received, form small groups to review and select qualifying performances for the 90-minute program. Can we make those subcommittees now? I mean, like we said that we would do it, but we didn't say who was on it, who wants to be reviewing the music or the art, and why don't we just
if our chair approves it, we can.
Sure. Sure, yeah. If you want
to. Right, because when else are we going to do it? So we have a motion, but it doesn't allow us.
No, we already approved it, didn't we?
Why don't we?
No, but there's no subcommittee.
Can we just maybe take this offline and just write an email for who wants to join where, since one of us already left?
Well, does it require a motion?
Not to who participates on each council. Each sub-working committee.
I don't know.
Who wants to review music?
It should be always documented in our minutes, but I think it's voluntary that you can volunteer to be part of a subcommittee as long as everybody agrees. So it doesn't hurt to take a vote just to cover all the bases. But definitely who's doing what needs to be documented.
One of my concerns is if we get heavy on the music, but not so much in another area, then maybe one group is going to be overly busy compared to another group. So maybe
you can always move.
So yes. So I'm not sure what the best way to tackle this is, but I do think that I want to find a way to do it fairly. So nobody is has no spare time left after trying to do all of this. But does anybody have any suggestions on?
I would suggest, since one of the people who is working on music isn't here, and I have a hard break in 10 minutes as well. So can we table this on who's to participate and just list in the email who wants to do what and go by that? And then
that's fine with me. I just
list in the minutes.
Yes.
Make sure that it's
the amount of work in a week.
You're muted.
You're muted.
In a week, we'll have a sense for the volume of work, and that will help too.
That's going to be the driver, I think.
Yeah, and so this. My second question is, as of tomorrow or whenever, since the Dropbox mechanism is all confirmed and it works, are you going to reply back to everybody who submitted thus far, or what are we waiting for?
Well, we were waiting, Lori and I were waiting for us to bring it to this meeting this evening and make sure that we're all to do it iteratively as people submit, or to wait to the deadline and do it following the deadline. We were just waiting for a call, an agreement.
And I hope we, now that Selvy's here, what we were talking about is that instead of waiting till the deadline, is to do them on a rolling basis in case we, for some reason, run short of time. And then we at least have the buffer of extra time at the end, if need be.
Lori's
What was our
otherwise
deadline?
we can start tomorrow.
Yeah, you cannot wait till the 15th to ask them for it. They may
We'll
actually
start
have to go
tomorrow.
video it.
It's
Yeah,
done.
I'm just saying,
start
right?
tomorrow.
So it has to be rolling. That's not even an option.
We'll begin.
Yeah.
I do think though, if you have decided on forming subcommittees to review different parts, review and accept applications for different parts of the virtual fest, we can firm it up with voting just to make it, formalize it in the next meeting.
Yes.
Selby, we're accepting all of them, I guess. It's just picking the ones that are going into the 90-minute.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I guess I didn't think we were picking all of them, but I guess they'll all go on the website.
The Facebook group.
But we're just for
And
people
what we're
to split
talking
up
about
the
is
top.
just
It's a lot of music
wiring.
to listen to. So just have a few people do one, the art, and other people do the artists and dancers and so forth.
And I don't mind reviewing a lot of them. This is part of what I do in editing. So it's I'm not afraid of that, but happy to do it in a group or whatever we decide. Is it fair for me to say that everybody is willing to at least look at a submission or a couple of submissions? I know, Heidi, your availability might not be so great, so you just have to throw up your hand and let us know if that's okay. Yeah, you got the message. Okay, so so may throw you on to one of the little breakout groups, and then that group can communicate, and might be kind of fun though to see what people have out there. So thank you so much for everyone's time. Is there anything right now that you can think of for future agenda items? Are we all set, Selvy, with the priorities then? Craig went over it, and Bick pointed out that where it says art,
For school.
it should say arts.
Either arts or art and music.
Yeah, perfect.
I
think that's
I didn't pick that out.
Art only.
That's perfect. Thank you, Beck. We just need to now copy and paste it onto the MCC's web portal. But Terry, you and I can do that together. That's not a
okay. Yes,
okay. Let me send you back the new version then.
Thank you. Also, James, Scott Jameson's program was my internet. I said it would be easy, but just one second. My internet keeps on coming in and out. It was called Imagine Your Story Library Performance, and the amount granted was $225.
Imagine Your Story.
We have one more modification that came in for a previously Apple Fest performance that's going now virtual from Charles Lewis Symphonetta, but we didn't really review and voted up on that yet. So by the next meeting, we'll have that one to report.
And as items come up or issues come up, we certainly have time. But I just wanted to put it out there if there's anything that was burning that people wanted to make sure it hit but I don't have anything at this time. So does anybody have anything else they properly before the board that they would like to discuss? Otherwise, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
I just want to say everything looks so beautiful, and I'm really excited about the broadcast that's in the process. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, it's going to be really nice. So I'm say again, very proud of this group. You guys rock. You guys, I'm so excited to see how this turns out. You guys have you have a high bar. You have a very high bar. Okay, so motion to adjourn. I see Leslie. She motioned and
Seconded.
Suzanne seconds, and I'm going to go across my screen here. Bick.
Yes.
Yes, and Lori.
Yes.
Suzanne.
Yes.
And Leslie.
Yes.
Heidi.
Yes.
Selvi.
Yes.
Okay, and so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming, Julianne. We really appreciate you having it with us. We appreciate your support. Thank you, everyone.
Thank Wonderful to see you, Julianne and John.
Bye.
Thank you, John.
Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thank you. You too. Good night.